We were pretty famous back in high school.
Trust us.
Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast.
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous.
Hello and welcome to High School Famous, the podcast where we will probably talk about high school, but hopefully we will not. I am Matt.
I'm Sean.
Yay, Sean, hi.
Hi.
So, yeah, I mean, I say hi to you like I'm acting like we haven't been talking for a couple minutes before this all started.
Right, roughly seven.
Roughly seven.
Seven or more.
So, Sean, let's dive right into bad news.
Oh, we're going to do the guest afterward.
Yeah, well, okay. Let's start with introducing our guests so they don't sit there in silence. Sure,
he can.
Whichever way you want to do this.
Then he can react to the news if he wants to.
Well, I mean, he could have anyways. Hey, Sean, we have a guest.
Hey, who is it?
Is this what am I being spoken to now?
Hey, it's not time for you yet.
Sean, go ahead.
This guest, we met in high school.
No
it's
way.
Adam, do you want us to give your last name?
I don't care. It's probably not necessary.
Okay. This is Adam.
He does have a last name, but it's not necessary.
Yeah. Okay, well, so, now we're going to jump into a segment that we call Bad News.
Bad News. Oh, that was not what I wanted to open up. So,
would you like me to go first, or would you like to go first this week?
It doesn't matter. Mine's right here. So let me tell you what's some bad news about me lately. So right. I always knew I was destined for greatness. There are a lot of things about me that would suggest as such. Extraordinary things. Firstly, I was conceived in a hot air balloon. When I was born, I cried blood. At 7, I won the Little Miss Rogers pageant, having never even entered. My bright orange hair made me easily visible to hunters, making a blaze orange jacket I would own 2 years later completely redundant and unnecessary. In 5th grade, I won a Korean spelling bee. The world was starting to pay attention to little Matthew Schlegel. In 7th grade, I put an end to Disney World hunger forever, without even using my brain. In my junior year of high school, I simultaneously defeated the world's greatest chess player and the world record holder for rope jumping. By 20, I was featured on cereal boxes all around the world. Sales of these cereals increased by a couple points at least. I'm not sure if that's how cereal sales are measured. I was the quarterback of both teams in Super Bowl 39, and I'm proud to say we won. This is all to prepare you for my most recent achievement of cloning 2 different types of animals, splicing those clones into an entirely new animal, and then cloning the entirely new animal. I intend to repeat this process until the new animal is off the endangered species list, which I invented. So it's been busy for me lately. But I don't mind being busy if it means I will continue to be far greater a person than, say, you, or that guy over there, or even her, and she's pretty great. I'll have to keep tabs on her. I don't want her catching up with me. That's the little kid over there, though. that little kid over there, though. I've got nothing to worry about with that kid. Oof. That is a sad sight, that kid. As you can see, I've trailed off a little. That's something I could work on. Oh yeah, I should jot that down. Another way to be greater. Okay, well, toodly, ooh. That sucked. Why did I say that?
Okay.
Yeah, well, wow. So that's
very busy.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to be the best I can be.
I want to hear more about this Korean spelling bee, personally.
Yeah. What were the words that you had to spell? Do you remember?
Let's see. There was 안녕하세요, 감사합니다.
Well, anyone can do those.
Can they?
Yeah.
What do they mean?
Any Korean can spell those words.
Well, you just said anybody. You just said anybody, no. And then you whittled it back to any Korean.
I didn't whittle it back. I was implying that it was anyone, in Korea that normally would be in that circumstance to be in a spelling bee with Korean words.
Potentially.
Yeah. So impress us, please.
Well, I mean, it just doesn't matter at this point. You're not going to know what they are anyway. And also, you don't know that every Korean could spell those 2 words I just told you. And by the way, those are both actual Korean words.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh. Are those the 2 that you won on with?
No, annyeonghaseyo is basically a greeting, like hello. And kamsahamnida is thank you.
Why did I accidentally give you a language that you knew a little bit of already?
I used to know a little bit more, but I've lost a bit of it.
Since the spelling bee.
Yeah.
So how did you defeat the chess player and the rope jumper simultaneously?
Oddly enough, by using the opposite tools of each of those things against the other opponent. So I used chess pieces against the rope jumper, and then I strangled the chess player with the jump rope.
Oh, gosh. Oh, wow.
I'm impressed.
That's not what I was thinking of.
Oh, well, that's how it was done.
Ooh. Well, your life sounds very interesting and also a bit terrifying.
Oh, yeah. I'm
the one other thing
scared all the time.
The one other thing I wondered about was you were conceived, it says, on a hot air balloon. Now, does that mean in the basket during a hot air balloon ride, or was it just on top of a deflated hot air balloon that's lying on the ground?
Well, it literally says in a hot air balloon.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
I forgot what you wrote.
So you clearly thought that you typed on.
I guess so.
But it was inside of the balloon part, not the basket.
While it was inflated or not? I suppose this is more of a question for your parents.
A little of both. Like, it wasn't inflated at first, but then the lovemaking got real hot.
Wouldn't that inflate it more?
That's what inflated it.
Oh, I see. Oh,
it wasn't inflated originally, but the hot lovemaking inflated the balloon.
So this is to suggest that perhaps, at least at the time, what got your parents in the mood is a partially inflated hot air balloon.
It could have been that. It could have been the fact that the balloon had recently crashed. That's why they were in the position they were in.
What position exactly was that?
Missionary.
Yeah, what position? Okay.
Yeah.
Was it because there was a small family still in the basket? In pain?
It was a small family at first, and then the family grew.
They were also conceiving during the time?
Yeah. It was.
How does their
crazy.
family grow?
It's called survival, Sean.
We might die, so let's make more before it's too late.
Exactly. It's like creating your own food source. Anyways, Sean, what have you been up to?
Yeah, maybe I should read what I've been up to.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, I was asleep in my corner pile the other night, like I normally am, and I had what therapists call a dream. Here's what happened. I was reading on the subway when all of a sudden the car gave me an unwelcoming jerk. I welcome a lot of kinds of jerks, but this was not one of those. I opened my eyes and had no idea where I was or how I got on this train in the first place. Taking a look around, I noticed I was alone and stopped in the middle of a tunnel. I woke up my legs and made a way to the dinner car. The car was packed with people of all different shapes, sizes, genders, and faces. I picked a table using my normal table picking process and asked the couple already sitting there to please leave me alone. They got up and floated away. Oh, am I still dreaming at this point? Yeah. Okay. They floated away. The waitress walked over and whispered in my ear, "You have to leave because your life is in danger," while simultaneously pulling out a knife and lunging at me. So she's warning me that I'm in danger of her?
Apparently.
Very good. Dreams. I dodged the attack using my normal attack dodging process and folded the bitch in half. How is that going to stop somebody? I mean, maybe for a second. Now whose life is in danger? I quipped at her lifeless mass. Oh, I must have folded her in half backwards?
Or down the middle.
Or I guess maybe
vertically.
Maybe that way too. However, it works in dreams. Just then, the entire car of people turned to look at me with their dull, clumsy eyes, and they all stood up. They started toward me in what I can only describe as a forward motion. Arms with hands attached reached out and started grabbing at me. I panicked, punching and flailing and screaming and wetting. They continued to close in around me. Now I realized this was an odd time to notice. I was getting very hungry, and I remembered the waitress had never taken my order. I looked over to her, but she was preoccupied with death. The group piled on top of me and I suddenly woke up. Turns out everything but the wedding part was just a dream. Yeah. So there's no point to try to get me to explain myself.
No, I think it's interesting.
This is a dream, so there's nothing I could actually elaborate on because it's not real. So nice. I mean, nice try.
But what do you think it means? You're not getting out of this.
I mean, I would have said that I tend to put hunger over human life, but I was in mortal danger when I made the decision to fold that bitch in half.
Right.
So, but
what would you have ordered? Like, what were you hungry for in your dream?
It's hard to... Well, I could say what I was hungry for, and I could also say what food might have been available that I would have chosen from.
Okay.
Like, out of what was there, because I could have said... I could tell you right now, I was hungry for, spaghetti, but they didn't have... They might not have had spaghetti in the dream, so...
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, what more can we say?
Yeah, I'm curious about my normal, whatever you said, motion or process. My normal attack dodging process.
Yeah, what is your normal?
See what that is.
Yeah, there you go. What is that, Sean? You're curious about it. You brought it up, so tell us. You could have got away with not talking about it.
Yeah, I just roll into a ball and I just sort of roll around and circle the person until a cloud of dust builds up and they can no longer see me.
Ah, gotcha.
And that's when it's bitch folding time.
So along those lines, then, what is your normal table picking process?
Well,
other than clearly picking tables that are already occupied.
That's it.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Was there even anybody else actually in there? There was one occupied table. Yeah. Everybody else was just standing around.
Yeah. It's odd because people normally oblige and they move for me, and there's no cause for them to do that. I don't know why, but
interesting.
It's gotten me this far. Why change?
Right. I guess not.
All right. Well, that was our
that was bad news.
Compelling bad news session. Adam, what you may or may not be aware of, or what you may have picked up on, is Matt writes what I was up to, and I write what Matt was up to, and we read them for the first time during recording. So,
okay. I started picking up on that about 2/3 of the way through Matt's,
awesome.
But I still wasn't completely sure.
we try to trip each other up a little bit.
Yeah,
I like it. I learned a lot.
Awesome. Yeah. So now we're gonna do something to you that we haven't. Okay. We've had a couple guests on before, but this is the first time we decided we're gonna start doing this. And we're just gonna go ahead and call this 5 questions, and we're gonna ask you.
Do well.
Yeah, we're going to ask you 5 questions that you need to answer, or else.
Okay.
It might do well. It might do well. It might crash and burn, and this might be the only time we do this segment.
We'll see.
Perfect. I'll do my best.
All right. So, question number 1: who was the first?
Is that where we're ending it?
That's
who
the question.
The first?
Yep, that's the question. Who was the first?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not to be confused with who. Not to be confused with who's on first.
Okay.
The question is who was the first?
Who was the first? Wow, it's such a compelling, such a deep question.
Mm-hmm.
Written by a shallow man.
You may have to circle back just because I want to make sure my answer is adequate to such a profound query.
Cool, because they're not going to get better. Question number 2. What was that?
That was a podcast guest being completely unprepared for a line of questions that he was given. That's what that was.
But we didn't exactly give you any opportunity to become prepared. So
yep. All right. Question number 3. Where did you put it?
Oh, see, the initial response that comes to my head is probably not podcast appropriate.
Oh no, everything is. You can say whatever you want on here.
Okay, so the very first thing that came to mind is exactly where she told me to.
There you go.
Okay. Happy wife, happy life, I've heard.
All right, question number 4. Why dinosaurs?
Why dinosaurs? Why not dinosaurs? Because they're fucking awesome, that's why.
All right.
Please refrain from such language. But anything goes.
Yeah. Okay, all right. I mean, seriously, what kid doesn't grow up loving dinosaurs?
It's true.
Like everybody has a dinosaur. It's their dinosaur. Like Matt, what was your dinosaur?
I don't recall ever having a dinosaur.
You didn't have a favorite dinosaur? I thought every kid had a favorite dinosaur.
What was okay, of all the dinosaurs, what was my favorite dinosaur?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't think I put much thought into that. I mean probably just
what age range? Yeah, what age range are you talking here? Because Jurassic Park came out in '93, and I think that introduced me to types of dinosaurs I was not aware of before then.
That and also don't exist in the way that they existed in that film.
Well, this is
True.
all it's all debatable.
I think they're pretty sure Velociraptors are nothing like they are projected as in that movie.
Okay,
they were much smaller and they were feathery. They're actually assume most dinosaurs are feathery now.
I did hear that. I remember liking the Brontosaurus, which is that also now no longer a dinosaur? Am I right about that?
Yeah. It was
what did they change it to?
What they originally thought was a Brontosaurus was two different skeletons that ended up getting mixed, which I can't remember what the two were, but I believe one was possibly a Brachiosaurus, and then it was something else, but they had like mixed and matched some bones or something.
I'm going to say that my dinosaur was the Triceratops.
Oh, see, that was mine too. I mean, I think
awesome.
Mine though, because they're super cool. They just look so metal with the 3 horns.
So
that's why I was super excited that they had one in Jurassic Park, but it was just laying on the ground sick.
Yeah,
with a giant pile of shit next to it.
Yeah, you didn't get to see it do anything cool. I was a little let down then.
No. Yeah.
All right. So question 5.
Oh yeah.
How often?
Man. How often? Man, I have absolutely no idea how to answer that question. How often?
You could just say.
Matt, how would you answer that question?
Well, I mean, I'm not on trial here, but I would probably say as often as necessary.
Okay.
Maybe too often.
I would just say it varies.
Yeah. Another good answer to that question is currently.
Currently.
So
that doesn't fit. That doesn't fit at all.
So let's round back quick to who was the first.
Oh yeah,
who was the first?
Yeah,
who was the first?
Who was the first?
Well, if you're a Bible believing person, which I'm not, but if you were, Adam apparently was the first. So let's just roll with that.
Oh wow, so you?
Oh, you?
Me? Yeah. Oh shit.
Own it.
How about that?
Fucking own it. All right. Well, that was 5 questions.
I'll try that one in my personal life and see and let you guys know how it goes.
All right. 5 questions in the bag.
So for the record, Adam, you don't believe in the existence of the Bible?
I don't believe in the teachings that are held within the Bible. But I do acknowledge that particular piece of literature does exist in this planet, in this world.
Okay. Do dinosaurs believe in the Bible?
Do dinosaurs believe in the Bible? There's some really white-haired old dinosaurs running our country that probably say they do.
Okay.
This is the most political we've ever gotten on here.
Yeah. Just to reiterate.
I just thought of something that this isn't a political podcast.
Just to reiterate, our guest Adam believes that, and this is not a play on words in any way, that our country is run by white-haired dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That believe in the Bible.
That believe in the Bible.
No, that say they believe in the Bible.
And he also believes that
and then they talk.
Our guest also believes that he is the first man.
Yeah.
That might have been taken a bit out of context, but I'm not gonna argue with you, gentlemen.
Well, anyone
I don't
listening
think that'd make me a very good guest.
Anyone listening would have heard everything leading up to that statement, so I don't know how they could have taken anything out of context.
Yeah, I mean, this is all going to be edited very very sympathetically. So,
yeah. Are you saying that our listener base are not one that can comprehend this type of a statement?
No, now that you bring it up, I think that was very rude of me to assume such a thing, and I'll apologize.
This is great. This is the first time we've ever insulted one of our guests.
Yeah.
I've known you guys for far too long to be insulted by such a thing, so we're good.
Oh, then we're failing. So, Sean, what are we doing here today? What is this? What's going on?
Well, I guess we're going to do another one of those things where I watch a movie that I've never watched before, and we talk about it. And one of the reasons we have Adam on with us is this is also a movie he had not watched prior, and he has watched it for the first time. And so we get to talk about the 1999 movie Galaxy Quest.
Woo! A movie which I have seen multiple times and I did not rewatch, which is kind of what I do.
It's risky.
It is.
Now, I had planned to watch this at least twice before this, but we were potentially not going to be recording, and so I held off because I didn't want to have to. I wanted to avoid having to rent the movie twice.
Right.
So I just watched it an hour and a half ago, or I finished it probably an hour ago. So
let's dive into it, Sean.
Oh, it's already that time. Yeah. So, Adam, did you take any notes about the movie, or do you have it all in your head? Okay.
I took a few just to make sure that I'd, because I watched it twice. I did watch it once about a week ago, and then I watched it again yesterday just to catch myself up again. But it was not the movie that I thought it was going to be. That's for sure. I really knew nothing about it. I knew it was just it was somewhat of a spoof on any type of tropes that are in those types of shows, any kind of science fiction space-based show. But yeah, I had no idea what happened. I thought it was going to be more of a goofy satire than something that was going to be played a lot more straight. That, and they're all just actors that get thrown into having to be the characters they portrayed in an old TV show they used to be on. It made me think a little bit of Tropic Thunder, because isn't that kind of a similar thing? Yeah, when they go to war. Yeah. So the movie opens up at a convention, a comic convention, or a sci-fi convention, some type of convention like that. When I first saw Sam Rockwell, I just noticed, and I wrote down that Sam Rockwell is in everything. Yeah. I was okay with it. I thought he made the movie. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. He was my favorite you
mean
character in the entire movie.
He made the movie great.
Yeah, not like he actually directed it.
No.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Adam, I don't know what kind of notes you wrote down. I wrote down stuff that, wouldn't make sense, or I try to point out things that don't really fit. I thought this would be a little more difficult since this was like a space sci-fi based movie, so you can't really have rules because anything goes when you're in space. But so I'm going to jump to my next note, which is when Tim Allen's character, who played the commander of the crew in the show, he was trying to convince Alan Rickman's character, whose name I forgot already.
It's Sir Alexander Dane.
Okay. So he's trying to convince Sir Alexander Dane to go back out on stage because he was fed up and didn't want to do this thing anymore. And his way to convince him was to say the show must go on.
Yep.
Now I can see that because actors had that mentality and performers had that mentality. But using that same argument, you could say that whether he went out on stage or not, the show must go on. So that argument shouldn't have really worked.
Well, I think what was going on with Alan Rickman's character was that he's this classically trained stage actor who, through this role on this long-running sci-fi TV show, has been essentially typecast. So everybody knows him as this, this Spock character. So I think him saying that to them kind of triggered that stage background.
Got it.
That Alan Rickman's character had.
Now, Adam, you might be able to put some insight into this. I was thinking the whole time when they were at that con, wouldn't they just come out on stage to do a panel or something as themselves? Would they go in their costumes, let alone full makeup and prosthetics? What was the reason that they were in their full show attire for this dumb little con?
Right.
How long did Alan Rickman's character have to sit in makeup for a convention appearance?
Well, but if you watch throughout the movie, and Matt, as someone who's seen this movie a lot more, I don't think he ever takes the prosthesis off the entire movie. I don't think we ever see the top of his head.
Nope, he doesn't. Toward the end, it starts to come a little undone because of all the action that's going on and stuff. But I also noted somewhere throughout the movie that he would have ripped that off at some point because just to make himself more comfortable during the whole ordeal. But that was before I think I realized he had to be in his character because that's who this race of creatures thought he was. Like,
no, his character. I thought his character had a ton of depth. Just I don't know how much you're familiar with Sir Alec Guinness, who was Obi-Wan in the first Star Wars.
I'm familiar with him in the sense that he was in the first Star Wars.
Okay, so same kind of deal. He's this, and also a Sir. So I'm guessing this is not so much of a coincidence, but pretty on the nose. But he hated Star Wars because he was this classically trained actor who got known by an entire generation as Obi-Wan, and he despised it.
Right.
So I saw a lot of that in Alan Rickman's character, and the fact that he seemed to despise what he had become.
So with someone like Sir Alec Guinness, I wonder if he was this, classically trained stage performer, why would he have been a part of this little indie space movie that became Star Wars? Like, why would he even agree to do something like that?
Money is my guess.
So you're saying money.
Again, that's just my assumption here. I'm sure somebody can, Google that to find out, but that's the only logical explanation that I can come up with.
So I didn't recognize everybody. I think they were called Thermians. The beings that seemed at first obviously just like cosplay guys that take it too far. But one of them was Rainn Wilson. The other one who I didn't know his name, but I just noted down he's the photographer from Just Shoot Me. And then Sam Lloyd, who was the lawyer in Scrubs. So those are the three people out of all those guys that I recognized who they are.
That's funny. Yeah, apparently it was Rainn Wilson's first movie, or his first cinematic appearance.
And
Matt, do you know who any of the other ones are?
It was Justin Long's first as well.
Oh, that's who. I couldn't remember his name.
Which he is essentially the same character that he was in like Dodgeball, or at least that's the vibe I was getting.
Yeah, he was typecast pretty early.
Yep.
Let's see. So there's the scene when Tim Allen's character goes into the bathroom, and there's those nerds at the urinals that just start bashing without realizing he's in there. They're bashing the actors from the show and how they haven't had acting work in 15 years and how sad and pathetic this is. And somehow that just totally defeats Tim Allen. Like, he's in such a bad mood.
Yeah.
He's not in the mood to sign. Like, is this his first, guys? Is this his first ever instance of bad criticism he's ever received?
You might think so.
Right.
Because he comes into the movie like he's like Tony Stark. Just like an absolute, he's a rock star.
He's a legend.
Mm-hmm. Also, in that same scene, that if this were a real con, if there are two people just bashing basically the main group that this con seems to be about, there are going to be surrounding nerds that are going to come and argue against them.
Right.
But nobody was doing that. Nobody was doing that. They let the bashing commence. I'm like, that's not realistic at all.
No. Well, also if this is just like a Trek convention full of if it was in our reality full of Star Trek nerds, why would you pay $70-$80 for a ticket to just go and pile on about how terrible and pathetic these guys are? Like it's like the internet trolls who follow an account only to like just talk trash, and it's like, dude, you followed me, not the other way around.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like they just wandered in from off the street to use the bathroom. And somehow
maybe they won tickets from like a local radio station or something.
That could be. Or
those characters need more development. We really need to learn more about,
maybe there's some Galaxy Quest fan fiction we can find out there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I want to see a movie about those guys. I mean, but hey, it could be that's just what they kind of get off on, much like Matt's parents with a partially inflated hot air balloon.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I'm not going to kink shame, so I'm not going to comment too much on that.
Okay.
What'd you guys think of Tommy's character, the Ernie Hudson of the movie?
I thought it was funny.
Because it seemed like they wrote him in the same way where like Ernie Hudson was like the least popular Ghostbuster. and Tommy seemed like the least popular of the main cast.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a bummer for the fact that when on the original show they made it so he was a little kid,
right?
Just so that little kid didn't get to be in the whole movie. What every other actor that was in that show got to be in the movie Galaxy Quest. You know,
right?
That little kid that played the driver, he had to grow up, and so they just had to use this kid for that one thing.
Wasn't there a young, I didn't watch a lot of Star Trek growing up, maybe one of you two did, but wasn't there a young kid actor in like The Next Generation or something?
Yeah, Will Wheaton.
That's who it was.
Yep. He played Wesley Stryker.
No, it was funny how I feel like they took multiple sources of inspiration to kind of craft each one of these guys, each one of the main.
Probably.
Yeah.
And I think this movie is geared for anybody who follows a lot of those shows. Then they would understand the tropes and maybe more of the jokes. I'm not that audience, so I figured that they were making fun of a lot of things that I wasn't necessarily picking up on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
So there's a part after that night, the night of that con, when Tim Allen's just like at home and he's sort of maybe hungover or whatever, and then those guys show up at his house, and it without knowing what his night is like, the scene just kind of suggests that he went home, got out of his costume, and then put on a button-up dress shirt to go to bed in.
Yeah. And then passed out on his floor.
Yeah, like, of all the things you would wear to bed.
He's like, this is my sleeping dress shirt.
Because there wasn't like a woman with him to suggest that,
right.
He got dressed up and went out with a woman and took her home or anything like that. He's just by himself at his place. So, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to don a button-up dress shirt to pass out in.
I mean, it does reinforce this idea that he's like a loner and very pathetic and doesn't have a whole lot going on for him. The fact that he does pass out alone in his dress shirt.
Right.
I was more confused by the fact that he got shuttled away by these people and he didn't seem to question any of it. He just was rolling with it in the assumption that they were taking him to a job.
Yeah, so, these strangers come to his house that he just was approached by at the con, and then they show up at his house, and so he just assumes, oh, this is some gig I'm supposed to be to. But
right.
he's also demonstrated that he's horrible with time management, because when he's just about to start the gig, he says he's got another in about a quarter of an hour. So he plans to be somewhere else in 15 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
When he's just about to start this appearance. So what was he expecting to do?
Do you think that's their way of like demonstrating how desperate for work these guys are? That they would almost double book themselves?
I mean, that could be,
and just deal with the consequences later.
And I think it just has a lot to do with the fact that he was so attention hungry.
Yeah.
For the, he just loved being in the limelight and loved being just like fawned over by all these people. So he's just grabbing every opportunity he can to be loved.
Yeah, I think Alan Rickman's character says something to that effect when Tim Allen's character hasn't showed up yet. Doesn't he make some comment about how he always stole all the lines or got all the good lines?
Oh, yeah, probably.
If I'm misremembering. Yeah. So you're probably right.
One thing I didn't understand was the aliens who they learned of this crew off of receiving the transmission of the television show, which they thought were historical documents of record. How did they learn about the con? They knew where they were. They knew they were going to be at that convention. How did they know about that?
Right.
And how would they not have learned then what the concept of a convention is, where it's to meet actors who played characters on television?
It's a solid point, I suppose.
Now you're not contributing much to the Galaxy Quest discussion.
I'm letting you guys discuss. I'm chiming in when I can.
Okay. When
as a plot device, it probably answers the question that you had earlier about why did these guys come out in their full, makeup and costume for a convention panel. If they'd come out as themselves, I think the aliens there, would have been a bit confused.
Well, because you'll also notice Alan Rickman's character after the appearance, he went home and remained in full makeup at home. I'm sure it sounded like they had another appearance or two the next day, so it would have made no sense to remove it all. But so these guys are getting a lot of work.
Just have to sleep with his head like elevated so that
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
mess up any of the makeup.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to do. When Tim Allen, it seemed like Tim Allen's character kind of passed out in the car on the way to the quote unquote gig, and he ended up getting beamed up onto their ship. The process of which you learn what the process is when he's then returned home, and also you see it more in detail when the rest of the crew come back on to join them. I'm wondering how he possibly slept through any of that and had no like he slept through the entire thing. He was
right.
It seems like they have to be in full standing position, and you're covered by this material that completely envelopes your entire body, and then you're launched through space.
Right.
I mean, they did set up that he was very hungover. I don't know if that's an adequate explanation for the situation, but I think that's what they were leaning into.
Right, but yeah, I'm just thinking, I don't know what kind of state you're in. Unless you're unconscious, like in a coma, you're probably going to be startled awake during any part of that.
Well, Matt, how did you handle it? Like, how do you typically handle your adventures of teleporting through space?
Well, he probably invented a way that could be done while sleeping because he's so great.
Right.
Right. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah. I also noted that these actors were very easily persuaded to venture into space on a ship with a group of aliens because their co-star said, "Come on, what do you want to go home?"
Well, I think they were convinced that it was work.
Like,
I think
I do
Alan
want to go
Rickman
home.
gets all excited about it because it's a job.
Well, this was after they got on the ship. This is after they're on the ship and they experienced transporting through space onto their ship, and they realize that this is not just some appearance gig they're hired for. This is real life space alien warfare. And he's like, "What? You want to just go home and fall asleep on the couch? What is that? What you want to do?" And they all are like, "Yeah, okay, fine, let's go along with it.
Let's risk our lives."
Right. They have no possible idea of what could be in front, waiting ahead of them.
Right. They're like, I don't have a cat that I have to feed or anything.
No, I think if anything's clear, it shows that these characters have a lot of strong convictions.
So there's something else I had a hard time with, as you could probably imagine.
Hey, you seem to really struggle with this movie a little bit.
Well, no. I think so. Do you ever watch honest trailers, Adam?
I have.
See, I've never been one that like looks at a movie and like picks out little flaws or things that don't make sense. But those videos have kind of put me in that mindset, and I have a little bit of a fun with it now. So these beings, probably based on online schematics that were assembled by fans of the show, they built this gigantic complex. Well, first of all, they built the ship, but they also built this weapon called the Omega-13 or whatever.
Yep.
They built the weapon, but they don't know what the weapon does.
Yep.
Right.
You have to know what you're building. You have to know what it's going to do in order to build it.
Right.
And they said if their construction was wrong, it would obliterate all matter in the universe. They would have had to have built the weapon to do something when they were building it, but they don't know what it was. So I just didn't buy that at all.
Well, I mean, they're such an advanced race that I don't know. There's no way I can explain.
They're an advanced race that need another race to command the ship they built.
Right.
Yep. Because they're cowards.
Right. So if they're advanced enough to build the Omega-13 weapon and the ship for Tim Allen and his crew to command, they seem to have built themselves into a situation that they can't survive on their own. What they could have easily done is built themselves a place to live out of danger.
They could have taken all that engineering prowess and built themselves some sort of like colony or civilization.
Yeah,
rather than building a ship.
Like, why? Yeah, they built this crazy ship, and they're like, "Man, we don't know how to operate this." So,
all like going back to what you're talking about, that weapon. They designed the ship to work exactly as it's presented in the television show, which is amazing. Because a bunch of set designers deciding that, if you wave your hand this way or move this control this way, this is what it does. And then this alien race actually makes those movements and actions do the thing that happens on the television show. Which that was one of my favorite parts about the show or about this movie, was that because it solves a lot of problems that you could have in a movie like this, but the fact that they based the design and the controls and how all these things work on the quote unquote historical documents. So any one of these actors, when they get in on board and they're put in their chair and they're asked to do a certain task, they should, in theory, be able to do that task because they're just, recreating pushing the buttons and twisting the knobs the same way they did on TV. And it shouldn't, it should in fact do the thing that it's supposed to.
Right.
Unless, of course, you're talking about a weapon that they didn't fully flesh out in the television show, like Sean's talking about. And in that case, it doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
But it also makes it more of a, tense ending when they decide to use the...
True.
It's
I don't recall what was the result of the weapon. I don't remember.
It created a 13-second time warp to the past.
It turns back time 13 seconds to, quote-unquote, fix a mistake.
Yep.
What? Oh. One interesting thing about... And I know all these things are used to help tell the story and everything, and it's a visual medium, so they're going to have visuals. But they have just multicam footage of their old commander dying queued up to play at mealtimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, just in case we ever want to watch this again while having lunch, let's just play that video of the commander dying at all angles that we shot it at.
Right.
I don't
Which
think
the implication of
it.
that is amazing.
They didn't film it. The Saris or whatever, the bad guy, sent it. I think he filmed it and sent it to them, showing them what they did to him.
Oh, and they just queued up.
Let's keep this on the hard drive so we can.
So he had an alien race film crew on staff to make sure they get every angle.
Yeah, they just had a bunch of webcams up.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose they have a giant spaceship. I suppose it's not too unbelievable that they have a film editing suite on board.
Yeah, because sometimes they rent that torture room out to porn studios to do porn shoots. So they just have a bunch of cameras set up.
Which I'm glad you brought that up. But did I pick up on some tentacle sex in the third act?
You did.
You did. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So now we've tapped into the anime market as well.
So I'm wondering if their porn is based off of Earth's historical documents as well.
It could be. We go to America for our space program. We go to Japan for our porn.
Ooh. We've constructed what you call pornography to the exact schematics.
Luckily, our race already had these tentacles.
Yeah.
We just weren't sure how to use them.
Yeah. Boy, is it fun. It's way more fun being a Thermian than it used to be.
Right, yeah.
See, now I'm just picturing these very, stiffly moving, rather robotic aliens trying to mimic porn actors, and that's going to haunt me for the rest of the evening, I think.
One question. Why do you deliver so much pizza in this?
Yeah. We don't eat this stuff. We can't digest pizza or eat pizza. We don't have the proper mouths for it. So now we just have all these pizzas piling up in the corner. The ones at the bottom...
Maybe they get confused.
Have gone real bad.
They get confused and think that the pizza is necessary for procreation.
Right.
They might think that, yeah.
We first started by trying to insert the pizza. But it turns out that just caused infection.
That's lovely.
Is the pizza fully inserted? Yes, it is, Commander.
Oh, crap. I better press the omega-13.
Oh, that's why it's called 13.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is all revealed at the end of the movie, which we've jumped to.
I just now put together the 13 in the name and the 13 seconds.
There you go.
I didn't put those two together. Because I just figured it was some arbitrary number that's tacked on because it's a sci-fi type of weapon. It's going to have a number in there somewhere.
Right. One of my favorite parts of this whole movie, though, is just Tony Shalhoub. Just his whole demeanor of just this is fine. This is all pretty normal.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm totally cool with all of this.
He blended in with those aliens right away and was like, "Oh yeah, hey, this is what we were working on. We got this part figured out."
And just his whole
I thought
his soft spoken and just calm demeanor when things are going horribly wrong. He's just this isn't. We're having some real problems down here, and people are like dying in the background.
See, I thought we were going to get a reveal that he was an actual alien
the whole time?
or something like that.
I'm so much happier
when he
that
first
it didn't do that.
No, absolutely.
We kind of got that in a way when Seraph showed up, or what's his name? Saris showed up in his form. We kind of got that a little bit, but not really.
Yeah, because I think when his character gets first beamed on board, everyone else is freaking out, and like you said, he's just kind of like,
he's just like, oh man, what a rush.
Yep.
One little note about the Saris being, like not that they're all called Saris, but the beings that Saris is, and that species of alien, they seem to like to design their ships to look exactly like them. Like, it's just the same shade of green everywhere and the same type of contours that are all over these creatures. And I don't think anybody else does that. But also,
I didn't pick up on that.
Also, it seems like Saris here is when they were firing all those missiles or whatever the heck they're called in space at the ship that, the humans and all those other aliens are on. He's willing to destroy the ship that has the giant weapon on it that he wants, which means he would be destroying the weapon that he wants.
Yeah.
You're suggesting that this creates some sort of plot hole?
I would say so. Like, I guess
could be the whole thing of like, just destroy the ship, and then we'll search through the wreckage to find what we want.
That's leaving it to a lot of chance that you're not destroying the thing you're after. And he's so intrigued. His entire motivation here is just getting a hold of the Omega-13, and he doesn't even know what it does.
Right.
For all he knows, it could be a toaster oven or something stupid.
Or it could be some dumb thing that just turns time back by 13 seconds.
Yeah, I know. If you're going to make something that can turn time back, A, why limit it to a specific amount of time, and B, why 13 seconds?
See, I love the arbitrary nature of that as a viewer.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we were talking to like the real actual engineer of this made up real device, I don't think that your line of questioning is off base.
One thing they could have done, beryllium is on Earth, and I would have imagined that these guys from Earth would have known that you could just go to Earth to get beryllium instead of having to find some other planet that has beryllium on it.
Right.
Right? Matt, one thing I noticed that they made a minor joke in the movie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, they look like they're minors.
Oh,
they must only be. It was an age thing.
Gotcha.
Adam, that means nothing to you.
Or anybody else listening to this. That was just for Sean and myself.
All right. I'm glad, because I really didn't have anything to add to that part.
Yeah.
Did you hear? So this is skipping off like what actually happened in the movie, but I thought it was interesting. But apparently there was originally a more like a darker, more adult cut of the movie that was closer to more of like an R rating full of swearing and sex scenes, and it was eventually cut down to a PG movie.
You know what? I think that answers one of my later questions I have on here, because there's a part where Sigourney Weaver's character says something like, she says something, but you can tell she was dropping the F-bomb and they dubbed over it. You can see her mouth move. And I was like, why was that censored like that? I couldn't understand it.
Interesting.
But that answers that question.
I'd be interested in seeing the
darker version?
The darker, more adult version of that.
Yeah.
One thing I thought was funny, one little joke was, because Sam Rockwell's character, he sort of jumps in with them, and he was just in one episode of the show where his character got killed off right away. And so the whole thing about him is he's afraid that he's going to be the one that gets killed because he's not important, and like this applies to his real life somehow.
Right.
But when they were on the planet to get the beryllium spheres and they see those little creatures or something, they start to flee. And then Sigourney Weaver's character says something like, "Come on, let's get out of here before one of those things kills Guy." Like, they're going to go straight for him.
Yeah, because he has no last name.
Right. But she just she plays right into it. I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, I admit I didn't really laugh much at this movie, but I thought that was a funny little bit right there.
I thought it was very clever.
Yeah.
Just some of the nods and some of the references. I mean, yeah, I think to somebody who's a hardcore Star Trek fan, probably just thought this movie was the greatest thing in the world. I still thought it was pretty funny. That's Sam Rockwell being basically the red shirt.
Yeah.
He's killed off by, I wrote a note on that, killed off by a lava monster before the first commercial break in episode 81.
Oh, you jotted it down.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty good.
Before the first commercial break.
Yeah. Because at the beginning, he's really excited about it when he introduces himself to them. And he's like, hey, because he's the MC, but then he has to, quickly throw in there that, hey, I was actually in one of these episodes, was killed off before the first commercial break. And, he's all proud of it. But then, halfway through the movie, it's terrifying him because he thinks he's going to, like Sean said, die in real life.
What I think is ridiculous is how Saris gets killed at the end. It's just so dumb.
When he crawls out, he comes out of the ship after they crash at that con.
Yeah.
Oh,
and he just walks out and just gets shot, and he just is obliterated.
Yeah.
It's just
about this con. So that nerd that helps him guide
Justin Long.
Yeah, Justin Long's character. I forget his name again. He rattles off something to his parents about how he needs to help them, and so he's going to go and provide a visual.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand what the visual was supposed to be of, because I just said, so the visual confirmation is so that they know that they're on Earth?
I think they just I don't know, it's like to where they needed to land or something. Like,
but
it was
it's
a
like
beacon.
Yeah, he had the fireworks, didn't he? Didn't he have a bunch of fireworks in his hand?
Right, but they already know they've reached Earth, and they just need to land. They just need to land somewhere. So the visual confirmation is to help them. Hey, land here, because was their main concern to be landing at this other con?
I don't know.
Yeah,
why
of all the people on Earth that they needed help, it was this one kid and his handful of sparklers.
The Jubilee of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't totally make sense. Why would they need to, for one, you think it'd be better for them to try to crash land in like a big open field to not endanger other people's lives, or
maybe
near the army.
Water that's right near the army. Did you say near the army?
Yeah,
they would get shot. They'd get gunned down like crazy.
They would.
The army would get destroyed.
Could kill the alien that's trying to get them.
Well, it sounds like the only communication they had with Earth was to Justin Long's character, so I don't think that the army would have been clued in to what's going on. They would have just shot the thing down.
Well, I mean, you think at some point?
No.
Here, no, I'm not. I'm going on a different line of thinking here. The army would have had to see this thing coming in anyway.
Sure, yeah, they probably had eyes on it.
So
things like that. Yeah.
Why isn't that like? Why didn't anybody show up? Like, not only did something from space crash land on Earth, but it crash landed into this convention and stuff, and like all these people just cheer and having a good time. Like, no cops show up, no army people show up.
So, well, maybe that was the premise, the proposed plot for Galaxy Quest 2. That
they all get arrested.
Unfortunately, due to Alan Rickman's death, they weren't able to realize.
Well, wait, what year did he die? It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, apparently they were just talking about making a sequel in the last 4, 5, 6 years. Why they wanted to wait 15 years. Yeah, because comedy sequels that wait 15, 20 years to be filmed always end up really good movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Take Jay and Silent Bob reboot, for example.
I heard it was trash.
It's awful.
Take Dumb and Dumber 2.
Oh, that movie broke my heart.
I've never seen it.
2.
Take Anchorman 2.
And that wasn't even super long.
Yeah,
that wasn't as extended of a length.
Adam, your argument's not holding up. Unless you're being sarcastic.
That's a tough proposition.
He was being sarcastic.
I couldn't
get off
tell.
topic from
So
this
I thought
movie.
we were shooting his logic down.
To try and recapture the magic.
Examples that go against it.
Or the humor from 15, 20 plus years ago.
One thing is,
people have different tastes.
I thought it was silly that no one wanted
Carrey
to tell
trying to be a dim-witted,
Sigourney Weaver's character that her top was zipped down way too far toward the end.
That was just sad.
Yeah.
And pathetic, much like the characters
in
this movie at the beginning.
Yeah, I think we lost him.
You guys still there?
Yeah. One other thing is they fly through a black hole. Oh, he's gone.
Oh,
Maybe he'll be back.
yeah. I mean,
But if not, hey everyone, that was Adam, and
Yeah.
he's gone. But light can't even escape a black hole. But they flew a ship through one.
oh yeah,
No problem.
Because they aren't light,
Yeah.
Sean. But yeah, so all in all,
of course. So the
would-
only thing that can't escape a black hole is light. Is what you're
Right.
saying?
hey,
Hey,
there
Adam's
he
back.
is again.
Hey, I lost you. I don't know what happened. All
I
of a sudden, I
mean,
realized I was talking to myself, and then Sean hadn't moved in about 45 seconds.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You just became a blue circle with an A in the middle, and then
Perfect.
You weren't talking.
Anyways, I have no idea where I cut off. Doesn't matter.
well, the
I
funny thing is, I'll still have your audio.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we'll be
I'm
able to-
talking.
that'll be a
I think
funny-
I do
just
think I
weird.
finished my point, and then I went, hello, and I started tapping my phone to figure
Yeah.
out,
We were talking
the issue
about Sean wasn't sure if you were being sarcastic about movies or comedies that come out years later being good or not.
No, you guys
didn't
were-
react, so
I got you. No, we were all on the same page with those movies being god awful.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, so
yeah.
I mean, yeah. So in all, you guys enjoyed the movie at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I did.
it was goofy. It was
Yeah.
entertaining.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah. Those and the actors who played that race, the Thermians, they were just weird. They did a good
Oh,
job
yeah.
of just making these really odd type of people.
Well, because there's the one girl, Missy Pyle, who played Lorelai, the one that she couldn't speak at the beginning.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
because her
Yeah.
her voice changer thing wasn't working. She's goofy. She does a lot of little character actor stuff, and she always
I think
is a
that's another
goofy
actor
character.
that appears in Dodgeball, correct?
yeah, she's in Dodgeball.
Is it-
She's like the weird
Russian.
looking Russian chick on the global team
Yeah.
I'd have to
or
see that
Globo
movie
Gym team.
again.
Yeah, she does
I
a
saw-
lot
I
of
watched-
little weird character actor stuff.
I watched it one time, so I don't remember really anything except there's the coach is some old guy in a wheelchair, right?
Yeah.
Rip Torn
Rip Torn.
Yeah, that's
plays what's his fucking
Patches O'Houlihan.
Patches O'Houlihan.
Yep.
That movie's ridiculous.
I love that movie.
So yeah, Galaxy
Um,
Quest.
So one thing I thought was interesting. So I looked up what movies also came out in 1999, and I don't know if it's just that sense of nostalgia where it came out when we were in high school. So in our eyes, every movie that came out that year was awesome. But Phantom Menace, Toy Story 2, Sixth Sense, Saving Private Ryan, The Matrix, Blair Witch Project, The Mummy, American Pie, Fight Club, Office Space were 10 that I noticed right out the gate. And that's
Wow.
not even half of all the movies that I recognized on that list as being big movies for the time.
Varying degrees of good and bad.
Yeah. Well, you guys don't rewatch American Pie for fun on occasion? I don't.
Yeah,
Brian, do
I
you?
just throw it in every once in a while if I'm feeling down.
Right.
Just just throw American Pie on.
You don't want to watch that movie on an empty stomach, though.
No?
No.
Okay.
Oh, for some reason in my head just now, I was mixing up American Pie and American Beauty.
Oh, yeah. American Beauty also came out that year.
There you go.
Now, that movie was good, and I've watched that movie more than once.
I think I've only really seen it all the way through once.
Yeah.
But no, American
Kevin
Pie.
Spacey, Kevin Spacey, and underage girls. That's really all I can recall off the top of my head. So
What's her name? Is it Mira Sorvino? Is that her name?
Mina
The girl-
Savari.
Mina Savari.
I get those two names mixed up all the time. Is she also in American Pie or not?
Yes.
I believe so. Yeah.
She was doing all the American
So
movies that year.
Yeah, yeah.
She was typecast as a person who will only star in movies that have American in the title. She did the remake of American Graffiti. No.
She did American in Paris.
Yeah.
Which I just watched American Graffiti for the first time about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned that. I have not seen that movie.
I honestly haven't either.
Whoa.
It's a rarity. I know. It's a rare movie I haven't seen.
Yeah, Sean was making it sound like you've seen everything.
I haven't seen everything. I've just seen many.
Have you seen Snowpiercer?
I have not seen Snowpiercer.
Have you seen the show Snowpiercer?
There's a show?
That's a
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this.
Oh, is it based on the movie?
Sort of, I guess. Yeah, it's the exact same thing, I think.
Okay.
Well, only it's a show. I forget what it's on, but it's a show.
But is it not, it doesn't star the same people, I assume?
I don't know who's in the movie aside from Chris Evans.
Yeah.
But Jennifer Connelly is in the show, and I think she's pretty much the lead of the show.
Okay.
I don't know if there are any people or characters that cross over into both. I don't know enough about either to speak intelligently about it. I just know that it exists.
Gotcha.
I heard Kevin Smith talk about it because he watched it.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that must mean it's good.
Well, I think that used to be the case, but I don't think so anymore.
It depends on who you ask, because there are people who are diehard, devout Kevin Smith people who will basically just,
defend everything and
they'll
anything
just,
he does.
They'll just, hang on every word and stuff. And it's like, I mean, I like Kevin Smith fine. I think he's a decent individual. He does what he wants to do. He doesn't get in anybody's way. He just likes people to be happy and creative. But his quality of work has just been nosediving.
The one thing
I don't think you can say. You can go for it, Sean.
I was going to say the one thing he it doesn't matter. The one thing he is good at is selling it. Like not his own stuff, but he talks so passionately about other movies and shows that he likes that I'll listen to him and go, well, maybe I should watch that. That sounds like it's amazing. But I feel like maybe it's because he's high like 24/7 that everything's going to seem amazing to him.
Right.
So then I'll sit there and doubt it moments later. I'm like, there's no way that it's all this stuff that he's talking about is all that good. He just speaks so highly about everything he ever watches.
We need to get our podcast in his hands.
Yeah. No, so I just had a thought.
Well, a podcast isn't really like an object that you can handle or fondle.
I just thought of something.
Fondle.
So we're talking Kevin Smith, right, on a podcast, and Justin Long was in this, and Justin Long was in the movie we watched. Did you guys see Tusk?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So Kevin Smith, produced it.
Yeah, we just brought
came
this
up with the idea on a
circle.
podcast. Yeah,
he
and
did.
It stars Justin Long. That movie disappointed me. I was hoping for something that would be played straight as like a real horror movie, and that movie got goofy, silly, and weird.
Yeah.
And I didn't
when
know
they
how
were
to
talking
feel
about it
at
on the podcast, it was ridiculous.
See, I know he was going for weird. I know that that's what he was trying to do, was make just some really messed up weird movie that would make you just go, what the hell did I just watch? That was so weird.
Okay.
So I don't know if he was I don't know if he was going for like a straight, like playing it as a straight up horror movie. I think he wanted it to just be odd and weird. But I got this is another, I mean, I don't know how often this happens in the world, but Adam, do you listen to Kevin Smith podcasts, or did you hear the one where they were talking, where basically the idea for the movie Tusk was born?
I knew it came up it was on his podcast, or it was on a podcast that he was on, and they were just, I don't know if they were just riffing ideas back and forth, and that just got spawned from it, or if there was something more.
There was an article about somebody who was trying to rent out their house, or a part of their house, I think. And it turned out to be a fake ad posting or a fake article, but at the time when they were reading it, they didn't know that. But it was a very odd, strange type of post like that had all these weird details about walruses and stuff. And so they read it thinking it was a real thing, and they're like, wow, look how crazy this weird article is that's advertising for you to rent part of their house or rent this guy's house. So they just ran with it from there and started going. That's when they started just sort of riffing on it. But it was stemmed from that article, and then he just turned the whole thing into a movie. And so to me, that's already a bad place to start.
Right.
Was Justin Long in Yoga Hosers also?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm sure he's going to be in Moose Jaws and Clerks 3, which he's just finished writing the script for again recently. Yeah, he wrote
'Cause
another Clerks 3.
Yeah, he's rewritten that one a couple of times, and then he also was writing it he was doing the Mallrats TV series that didn't come through.
Well, and he was also going to do a Mallrats 2 movie.
Right.
But he wasn't going to be able to make that movie. Like, whoever owns it wasn't going to let him do it, I think.
Miramax or something, probably. I don't know. Whoever owns it now.
And then when he was first talking about Clerks 3, one of the main people, and I'm guessing it's the guy who plays Randall, was not. He didn't want to be a part of it.
Right.
So my guess is either he's writing it completely differently so that he can make it without him, or he's now agreed to be in a Clerks 3 movie. I don't know what the case is, but something got him writing Clerks 3 again.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Yes. Well, I think it's safe.
I don't think that those. Oh, I was just going to say, I don't think Clerks 3 is going to make it to the top of my want to see list.
No.
It's one of those movies that at some point I'll be like, I'll just throw it on and see.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I'm sure just out of a small amount of curiosity and the fact that we've such a long history with his movies that I'll watch it at some point. I'm sure I'll watch Moose Jaws just to close out the True North trilogy, as he calls them.
Right.
And
but Yoga Hosers was so good.
That's not true.
It was so good.
Yeah, his movies now.
I know. I don't know.
So, man, now do you think we should get our podcast in the hands of Kevin Smith? We've been bashing him for the last 6 minutes.
I don't say I'm bashing him. It's just his movies just don't appeal to me anymore, unfortunately. I mean, all of his movies still have like moments of like, oh, okay, that was kind of funny or that was clever or whatever. But it's like,
yeah,
I don't know. He's doing what he wants to do and he doesn't care who likes it. And that's a weird way to make films. But
yeah, I mean, it's a great position in life to be in.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But yeah, well, all right.
Cool. Is this the long goodbye? Like,
it was fun having you. Sean got real quiet there for a second. Oh,
I was responding to something.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was being asked if I was still recording.
Oh, okay.
Hey, yeah. So, hey, this has been another episode.
It sure has.
High School Famous. I have been Sean.
The whole time you have.
Yeah.
I've been Matt the entire time also. And then there was Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. This is a good time.
He may or may not have been the first of something.
The first human.
Yeah, ever.
Yeah, based on his outlandish claims, he might be.
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye.
Thanks a lot, guys.
If you like us, we're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as HSFamousPod. Email us at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. If you really love us, consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/highschoolfamous. Remember, we love you and want to have your babies.